The Lord's Prayer has come down to us in two traditions, which does not exclude their being given more than once. We have in the very Hebrew form of Matthew something similar to what would be used in synagogal language, with this perfect parallelism. The second clause expands the first and balances it out. In the shorter form of St. Luke, it is more the tone of a personal prayer. But the essence is the same, and one thing which unexpectedly is repeated in both is the parallel bit corresponding to what we have here in Matthew, as we have forgiven those who are in debt to us, indicating that that was there definitely in all forms of this teaching given. A reminder unto the end of time of the importance of coherence, and an echo also of the introduction of St. Matthew with regard to the need for authenticity in prayer. For if we do not mean what we say, at that point, then we are going into some kind of mentality which is that of the machine. God is being used as a slot machine. We have a list in which forgiveness comes, but a forgiveness which does not engage, and it doesn't work. And it can be questioned how much also does work prayer which is purely vocal. One time in formation in France, I was given to read a book essentially on this question, and it was at one point going into very strong language. C'est une hérésie. It is a heresy. This notion that prayer, that is said prayer, of itself is necessarily prayer. He was hitting hard at the illness of automization of prayer. Now, the Lord himself does the same when he introduces this prayer. In your prayers, do not babble as the pagans do, for they think that by using many words they will make themselves heard. In the original it would be more like they think that they will be heard for their much speaking. And so the Lord gives these meaningful clauses, which start with God and end with the devil, with man in the midst. God is to be glorified, and that must also be the bottom line of all prayer. He is the centre of attention, and prayer is to glorify and return honour, glory and rights to the Maker. So this sanctification of his name is the liturgy of all our life and all our language. One often hears people abusing the holy name. Well, a way of making up for it on the spot is to pray mentally, praised and glorified be the holy name of Jesus, and the devil doesn't like to hear that, so he gets a knock on the head. Your kingdom come, and then where is this kingdom? The place where the will of God will be done. Where will it be done? On earth as in heaven. And that reminds us of the teaching of St. Maximilian Kolbe to his young people in formation. He wrote on the blackboard one day, holiness exists, he put it in a mathematical formula. It would be, in English, H, might have been sanctity. S exists when big, no, in English, W, might have been voluntas, will, V in that case, equals, and he meant equals, completely equals, big V, that is when little v or little w of the will, the personal will, is completely one with, equal to the divine will, then there is sanctity. And he put it to that's what the acid test is. Is my will handed over? That is when God is truly reigning. Until that is happening, he is not. So again, this prayer is demanding. We can't pray and let us get away with the fact that we're not actually letting that happen. It won't happen unless the will is handed over. This forgiveness then also has this echo as we forgive. And we can't inquinate our interior life with the harm that others have done to us, thinking that we have a right to get our own back, even if it is in the pleasure of seeing them being harmed or even judged. Tertullian went too far when he said in one of his writings, "And what greater joy can there be than spending one's eternity seeing the emperor expiating his apotheosis?" One cannot take delight in the loss of any soul. One cannot take delight in bad luck coming to someone who has harmed us, but it's secretly there. And do not put us to the test. But then we have the corollary. We can't put ourselves to the test, e.g. by opening an impure bit of the screen. We can't presume on our forces. And also there is the bottom line that we do not expose ourselves to what we know to have certain consequences. Otherwise we are in causa responsible for the result. There is also therefore way up the line sin involved in the choice of placing ourselves in a proximate occasion, something we know to have probably an effect. In the Holy Land we have the Carmelite Church of the Our Father, Pater Noster, and so many languages are there, and it is right close to the grotto where the Lord would have taught his disciples on many occasions presumably, and there we have the spot where this teaching was given. One can imagine also in that little grotto, that place of teaching, the prayer that would have been there around the Master, something which we reproduce both in small cenacles, as the one we do have regularly, or in any prayer group where truly the promise is claimed, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. And it works when precisely there is prayer from the heart, in Welsh, gweddi o'r galon, sincere prayer, electrified prayer, engaged prayer taking place. There is a world of difference between an intense group truly engaging and a group who is going into automatic pilot only. It is good to have a structure, but the structure must contain. The structure in itself is not enough. This then is the grace to be asked for, lest this, perhaps the most prayed prayer in the world, end up as only the most prayed prayer, but the least engaged prayer. Love, perfect love, is the gift of Christ our Lord. Love, perfect love, is the gift of Christ our Lord. Thus says the Lord, will the one of my friends. Love, perfect love, is the gift of Christ our Lord. Intaret unutenen evoi, sancti diere Deinu, delende derna segnelere devosis, megis anane vetliare de arhevit, teroini hesiu in parabenatio, amazaini in deledio, Belnama Deonina in the Ledwir, Acna Carvani provetingais, Ether quaret ni rangatrug, Canisero tio terna sarner thargo coniant, a noi sois. Amen. Il Signore stesso ci ha mostrato come pregare proprio in questo posto. Purtroppo questa preghiera del Signore è tanto recitata, ma molto meno pregata. Chiediamo questa grazia di saper pregare con tutto il cuore. Padre nostro che sei nei cieli, sia santificato il tuo nome, venga il tuo regno, sia fatta la tua volontà, come in cielo e così in terra. Dacci oggi il nostro pane quotidiano, e rimetti a noi i nostri debiti, come noi li rimettiamo ai nostri debitori, e non ci indurre in tentazione, ma liberaci dal male. Amen. C'est en ce lieu que le Seigneur nous a enseigné à prier, en réponse peut-être à la demande des disciples. Seigneur, apprends-nous à prier. La prière dominicale, la prière du Seigneur, est la plus récitée peut-être au monde, mais peut-être aussi la moins priée. Le danger n'est pas indifférent. Il y a une différence très nette entre prier et réciter. Demandons cette grâce au Seigneur de la prière du cœur. Notre Père qui es aux cieux, que ton nom soit sanctifié, que ton règne vienne, que ta volonté soit faite sur la terre comme au ciel. Donne-nous aujourd'hui notre pain de ce jour. Pardonne-nous nos offenses, comme nous pardonnons aussi à ceux qui nous ont offensés. Et ne nous soumets pas à la tentation, mais délivre-nous du mal. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et imite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.